How's it going, guys? My name is Nick Novak. Welcome to the HSR YouTube channel. It's day 34. We are doing a 50-day challenge. If you're new, we are doing 50 straight videos for 50 days. We're on day 34. We've had two mishaps. One, my daughter got dedicated. It was a Sunday, so we took that day off. And then 2 days ago, my daughter spilt water on my computer when I got home to post my video, and so it didn't get posted for the next day. But anyways, today we're out here just checking the fall cows. And I mentioned yesterday about kind of the problem with the breeding we had with them. And so I kind of thought I'd elaborate on that a little bit because I've had a couple people reach out and say, hey, what actually happened? So before we start, let's just kind of explain the cows we have. So all those black cattle, my dad and I bought those, would have been 2 summers ago. No. Would have been last summer. We bought those 38 black cows from a guy out in eastern Kansas by Salina. He had tons of grass, but they didn't have a pond filling rain, and so what they had to do was get rid of their cows because they didn't have any water. They didn't have real water or wells on a couple pastures. So we bought these cows pretty cheap. They were heavy bred, fall calvers. Out of the 38 we have, 37 of them ended up having a calf. We ended up keeping the one cow that didn't have a calf because she was a big cow. She looked really good. The market wasn't great last fall, and so we just decided to keep her and get her bred, which she's bred back this year. But let's talk about the breeding. Well, before we talk about that, let's talk about these red cows. So there's 2 red cows over here. Those are first calf heifer that I bought from a guy. We calved him out. We ended up having 9 calves. One cow must have aborted her calf or something because she just didn't even have one. And I had a pole one and we had one prolapse. So, but everything lived. So we had 9 calves, which we thought that was a success. So that puts us at 48 cows. And I just bought these 2 white cows, which they have 2 calves on them right now. Back for my 2 little girls, so that they can have their own calf, and that calf money's gonna go into a bank account for them for down the road. Talked about that yesterday. I'm not gonna elaborate on that much more. Cows, these black ones were bred to Black Angus. So we had black calves last fall, winter, early spring, and then we sold them. And these red ones were bred to Red Angus. Jeez, it was a tongue twister for some reason. And so, yep, so we had 9 red calves and 37 black calves. Got them sold in June, did really good on them, but we bred them back to Charolais. Bred them to Charolais because we really like that mix between the black cow and the Charolais. The Charolais just put so much frame, and when you're selling them at the sale barn, you're wanting size. Yes, they do take kind of a hit, but I think this year we're actually gonna keep our calves. We'll run them on my grass once we wean them as yearlings, and then we'll take them to the feed yard and actually probably feed them out. And so it'll be a little bit different than last year. So we turned the bulls out late because these cows were kind of bred late. We turned the bulls out December, I want to say 23rd, which puts us right at like an October 1st calf. But we let them in there for 75 days. Anyways, we had 2 bulls in there with them. There was 48 cows, 2 bulls, so the bulls should have been able to clean them up. But we ran into a mishap, and that mishap was in January for almost 25 days straight. We were in a blizzard, and it was very hard on the cows. I think one of the bulls' nuts froze up, which means he couldn't breed. He could breed, but no swimmers, if that makes sense. And so we ended up having like 14 open, and it was, for a first-time rancher, that is a gut killer. I mean, it really did not boost my confidence, let's just say that. But we rallied. We went ahead and bred all of those open fall cows to make them spring cows, because if we were to sell them, we would have made a little bit of money, but it makes more sense because in the cow-calf, guys, you're in it for a long term. You know, you're trying to pay off that cow, and once that cow's paid off, then the calf is starting to pay off, and then when you sell your cow eventually, that's kind of where your big money's at. So we wanted to keep those cows. We're still gonna get a paycheck for them in the same year, so next year we'll still get a paycheck. It just won't be a big herd, you know, in June that we sell. It won't be 50 calves hopefully in June. It'll be hopefully 33 calves in June, and then there'll be 17 over there that will have a calf that will sell in like December or November or maybe even October. So it just kind of prolonged our paycheck about 6 months, which is not ideal. But looking back on kind of what happened, I have really come to learn a lot. It kind of put me down in a pretty deep kind of spot that was, it kind of put me down in a spot where I was getting down on myself, thinking I wasn't doing, you know, the right things, and I wasn't good at what I do. And it just kind of put me, it was kind of good to have a put down, looking back on it, because it really made me do more research and made me think of things that I could have done better. And this year I'm going to be doing things a lot different. One thing that really hurt us last year was the nutrition. Last year was my first full year keeping a cow all winter long. I've done it back in Scott City with a bunch of other guys, but I wasn't really calling the shots back then. And so what I've came to realize is I let my cows' condition get a little bit too far away from me, and I think that played a part in the breeding for some of them. I think the majority of them didn't get bred that weren't bred because of that winter storm. We missed that whole second cycle. Cows cycle every 21 days. I think the bulls hit the first quite a few in the first cycle. They missed the whole second, and then they hit the last couple in the third cycle is kind of what my guess is, which we'll see in the calves this year. You know, if there's a tight calves for 21 days and then there's a little bit of a break and then we have calves again, that'll prove that theory. So we'll be able to get a definite answer on that probably in the next month and a half. But saying all that, we still bred everything to Charolais. I've learned a lot. This year, nutrition wise, we're gonna be feeding a lot more alfalfa, a lot more protein for them. We had protein tubs out. I had a bunch of feed bales I grew in my place, but I don't think the quality was as good as we thought it was. We got it tested and everything, but it's just one of those things where it's hard to tell. And so we're gonna be unrolling hay. I got this new truck that'll be able to unroll alfalfa bales, kind of be able to give them a more definite amount of feed that they need by unrolling it, you know, unrolling half a bale a day or unrolling a quarter of a bale a day. And in the winter we can, you know, if we have a bad storm in the winter, I guess we'll be feeding all winter, but you know, if there's a bad storm, then we can feed a little bit more. But also unrolling out, you know, feed bales, grass bales. It's just going to be a lot nicer to have this, because before I was unrolling them on off the back of my flatbed. I was using my skid steer to put them on the flatbed, going to the pasture, finding a hill that I can push it off of and try to, you know, unroll at least half of it. And so it just didn't work very good. But this year we learned a lot, and we're going to take that into the coming years. We also have Milo stocks. So let me just kind of explain this now. So since I've kind of told you guys our breeding, what happened, and trust me, I don't want to explain that to you because my pride doesn't want me to tell you guys that, because it's kind of, the word I'm looking for is, I don't like other people hearing about my mistakes. You know, a lot of people on YouTube want to only post the good stuff, and I want to be transparent with you guys. And so I'm going to try to, you know, kind of tell you how it is, even if it's a couple months later, because I do think it's important to kind of think about what happened. You know, in the moment I was so down on myself, but after thinking about it, you know, I think it was for the better. It's made me a better cattleman, and it's just going to help me better kind of understand my cows and kind of the elements and stuff like that out here in this area. So with that being said, guys, what's going to happen this year is all these cows over here, we're going to winter them in the same spot in that middle pasture. We've grazed it for probably 10 days all winter long, all summer long, sorry. So there's a lot of grass in there, a lot of cover, a lot of thickets, it was a great place to winter those cattle. There's rural water that we can hook them up to, and so it's just gonna work really good. But those open cows, you know, I said there was 14, so let's think about this. If there was 48, there's 33, there's actually 15 opens. I have 4 cows over there that are my cow-calf pairs that I've kept, that I've bought to flip, etc. What I'm doing on those is, in about 3 weeks, we'll do a cattle drive, move them back to my house. We'll work the calves, probably wean the calves, and take them to the sale barn and sell them. And the cows will preg check. All the open cows we will take to the sale barn. And there's 2 cows that we're getting rid of, one that prolapsed and one that had a terrible udder, and she just was not a very good cow. So if they're open or not, we're just gonna get rid of them. But the rest, they'll go out on Milo stocks. Probably not in 3 weeks. We'll probably put them on my little 50-acre pasture that I've only grazed for about 2 weeks this whole summer. Let them graze that for about a month and a half, and then we'll probably have to do some supplemental feeding for them as well. But like I said, with this truck, with our feed wagon we have, should be pretty easy over there. Excuse me. But then they'll go to Milo stocks. Everyone around here says, you know, if you're running them on Milo stocks, depending on the feed, of course, but they try to figure 1 acre per cow per month. So I got 59 acres there. If we have, say, 16, 17 animals there, you know, it's gonna be about 2.5 months. So maybe 2 months on the dot. And so that'll be really good to help us. It'll kind of help those cows keep foraging for those Milo seeds and the stalks and the leaves and everything like that. And then we'll turn them back on that 50-acre pasture. So when they start calving, my 4 pair will start calving in, let's see here, like January 15th. The bull jumped the fence, got in on him. I seen him breed 2 of them, so we just said, screw it, we're gonna let him go. So we'll have early calves next year. They might even make good little smaller calves to put on top of these, so we'll just see what happens. But anyways, that's kind of the plan. And then you know, these will just stay on this, these cows right here will probably stay on this pasture their whole life. And so I'm gonna quit rambling. I know this wasn't a very, you know, fun video, I guess. You guys gotta listen to my mistake. You guys can go talk crap if you want. But I'm learning, you know. I'm 24. I think I'm 24 years. Yeah, I'm 24. I'll be 25 in November. So I'm still a young guy. I grew up in the feed yard, but I didn't grow up in a cow-calf or running yearlings or anything like that. I took care of my first yearlings, would have been 3 years ago, when my dad bought a pasture back kind of towards where he grew up. I took care of him, you know, when I was in college and stuff, and that kind of gave me the passion for it. And so I still want to say I'm a beginner. I don't know everything. I don't want to ever know everything. I want to always be learning and just kind of being a student of the agriculture game. So I appreciate you guys watching this. Tomorrow we'll get back to a video of us actually putting in some work. But like I said, I wanted to give you guys kind of an update on where we were at with all these cows, and kind of why we have 2 different sets, and kind of what we're doing, you know, in the next 6-month future. So stay tuned. There's gonna be a lot going on. These cows are gonna start calving. We'll start working them. We got yearlings to ship. You know, we're gonna start doing bottle calf stuff. So we have a lot of things going on here in the next literally 3 months. It's gonna get very busy. So stay tuned. I appreciate you guys watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.